Hello, my name is Sarah and I'm from the Skills team in the University Library. This is the second video in the Referencing with Footnotes series. So this time we're going to look at when do you reference. You need to use a reference whenever you quote directly from another source. So whenever you use somebody's words without changing anything, you need to put the reference in to say where you got that from. You can see in our example we've got, according to Gayton, the concept of academic libraries is still, and then you can see where our quote starts because we've got double quotation marks, rooted in the idea that academic libraries are little more than storage facilities for printed materials. The quote finishes where the double quotation marks are, and we've got our footnotes number here, our superscript number, which would then refer to the same number in the footnotes at the bottom of the page, which just gives a bit more information so that your lecturer can find that information. If there is any well-known literature or theories in the field, you would need to reference those as well. Even if they're very well known in your academic area, they won't be in others, so you need to put a reference in for those. So you can see here we've got neoliberalism is an economic and political movement leading towards economic liberalisation. And we've got our superscript number, which refers to the footnote at the bottom of the page. You need to reference whenever you use the ideas of others or want to back up your own ideas. So if you've paraphrased anything, you need to use a reference, or if you're using other people's ideas to make your argument stronger, like we spoke about in the first video. So you can see here we've got our statement, our point, and then a superscript number at the end, which refers to the footnote at the bottom of the page with more information in it. There may be landmark legal cases or acts of parliament that you're just simply expected to know that would need referencing. And sometimes quotes can be single words. So you can see here you've got the first part, said, redefine the idea of Orientalism. In the double quotation marks, you've got your reference number here, using it to refer to the misconceptions the West held in relation to Asian and North African societies. You would then have your footnote, and sometimes quotes can be very, very short, and that goes back to when we discussed in the first video how sometimes quotes are better than paraphrasing. Even when you're reflecting on your own experience, you can support that with citations. You can still reference. So you can see here, I was surprised at how demanding my first dig was. Just as described by Petrie, my fingers started to lose some element of sensitivity. I suspect I was not on site long enough to develop the calluses of an experienced archaeologist. So you've got your number there, your superscript number showing where the reference is coming from, and then the more information at the bottom in the footnote. Sometimes you might want to quote something that's longer, a bit longer, so 20 words or more. There's a different convention when you get to something that long. Don't use this very often. It's not very often that you want to quote something this long, but if you do want to, you see we've got our first part. World economies are rapidly changing due to neoliberalisation, defined as, and this is our quote here. So you can see that we've gone into a new paragraph and we've indented slightly. So that's 4 to 5 spaces. We've then put the part that we want to use as direct quotation, so it's this bit, and the number so that they know which footnote it relates to. Once you've finished your quote, you go back into a new paragraph and put your margins back to normal. And then you've got your footnote at the bottom of the page. You also need to reference whenever you use data or diagrams from other sources, so any numbers that come from anywhere. So our first example is about food bank networks and some information there. And the second one is about government spending. So anywhere that you use data or diagrams, even if you create the diagram yourself, so if we'd created this bar chart ourselves, we'd still need to say where we got that information from. You need to reference whenever you use images from other sources. So we've got some examples of Byzantine coins here, and we would need to say where we got those images from. Sometimes, instead of using footnotes, some disciplines will require you to cite images and captions. So your citation information would go here, but you would need to check with your lecturer which way they wanted you to do it. And sometimes you want to reference something that's been quoted or reproduced or cited in the source you've read, so a secondary reference. Our advice is to always try to find the original source if you can. Always try and find that original. You don't know if it's been taken out of context. You don't know if there's some bias to it as it's been reproduced in another book. Never pretend you've read the original if you haven't found it. Lecturers seem to have some sort of sixth sense for finding out that you haven't. And only include the book or article you've actually read in the reference list or bibliography. So, if you'd found a quote by Harrison, but you'd found it in a book by Smithson, always try and find the original quote if you can. So you would go and try and find that original quote by Harrison. If you can't, your reference might look a bit like this. Harrison, quoted or cited, they mean the same thing, in Smithson. And you've got your superscript number there. So that's what your footnote would relate to. You would reference this book by Smithson. That's the one that would go in your bibliography or your reference list at the end of the work. If you would like to contact the library to discuss any of this or any other academic issues, you can do either via the support portal at support.hull.ac.uk. You can ask us questions via Library Live Chat, so that's the yellow box on the library web pages, or you can find more information on referencing on our skills support pages at www.hull.ac.uk/skills. Thank you.